Just open up all the chats. ChessDojo. There we are. Okay. Hey everybody out there. Gonna get into some chess games here. Can't hear the clicking. Oh yeah, this allows 95? No, not quite yet. Okay. Here. C4. Have I fallen into this exact thing before? I think so. If they take either of these, taking on D1 looks okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knight C3, takes. I mean, looks like a bad position for me if I win this pawn on D5, but not something where I have to resign right away. Dojo task calendar. You mean, Yellow, that I haven't studied chess in a long time? Yeah, that is true. I have not. Bishop G5 here. Bishop G5, I should actually not push, but just take. Yeah, keeping the knight from being as comfortable in my face. Now, if I take, it's going to go queen here. But I could now push. Knight B5, A6, A4. It's risky. I kind of like the idea of developing a new piece. See how that does for me. Obviously, it gives the knight access to this, which was coming anyway, if they want it. But then they can't fight me for D5. They kind of have to pick. This looks like an opportunity to come here. A counter threat could take some pressure off of me. So the queen should move. Obviously, I don't think I'm better because I'm up a pawn. Like, this pawn is loose, this king is loose. It's a terrifying situation still. So if I go knight F4, what are they planning? We don't really know. It's the best I see, honestly. Because G3, knight D3 is good. Knight G3, fine. I made it retreat. That's good for me. Queen's on the knight, so keep your eyes open, David. Let's just go in with her. Feels generally just playable. I mean, I don't see why I can't just keep that knight alive. It's an anti-Sicilian, slightly messed up by me, but not the end of the world. I'm going to try just doubling rooks now. I also thought about rook AE8 and king B8. Coming after me. Well, don't my girl look fine when she's coming after me? Knight F5. I plan to just double, probably. Whoa. Okay. Getting into some major intensity there. All right, 30 seconds each. H3, getting rid of back rank mate as a solid time scramble move. Looks like I took this one. That's it. All right, so just hung in there. Could have played a little bit faster, but yeah, hung in there. I can show you the opening since you saw the middle game foos. It's this bishop b5 trade line. This should be about equal. And I think e6 d5 is a good plan, but I think you need to actually trade here, which is slightly undesirable because it gives their knight c3. Like resolving the tension is slightly undesirable, but if you play d5 first, it's some kind of a mistake. I wonder, was it knight e5 or something? I've blundered into this once before, but I can't seem to remember anything these days. Let me look this up. It's unbelievable. As I played it, I realized, oh, I've messed this up before. But then during the game, I didn't see why I was losing, or I didn't see why I was in horrible trouble. I was in like some trouble, but not dead. So I didn't see from my opponent what I had seen in the past. So I made this mistake, d5. Yeah, it is knight e5 here. But second time around, I still couldn't see. Oh, I think it's because knight e4, f3. That must be what my opponent and I both missed this game. Okay, so the game where I got hosed, I had an opponent who found this move, knight e5. And the point is knight takes, pawn takes, knight takes, f3. And the knight's trapped. I remembered that it was knight e5 during the game, but I was like, I can't figure out why that is so good. So once my opponent traded instead of playing knight e5, then it was fine for me. Yeah. And so I'll show you how it goes, Foos. It goes takes, takes, c4, knight f6, d5, castles. And yeah, this position is complicated but playable for black. And I think I probably played pretty okay, all in all, from that point. So how many King's Gambits did you end up playing then? Yeah, so Foos, what black should do is trade once and then play d5. That's like a normal position. It's theory, playable for both sides. I would slightly prefer to be black, honestly, Foos. Like, I wouldn't play this. I wouldn't purposely probably play into this position here as white myself. A French without light squared bishops is kind of what it looks like to me. I don't see major problems for black because, you know, this knight is going to get traded on d2 or c3 generally, I think. So, I don't know. Worse in the opening 5 out of 6 times. Yeah. That has definitely been part of my life, Yellow. And the score? Do you know how to play the King's Gambit in a way that defies the objective evaluation of your positions? Slam the table rate OTB. I have never slammed the table OTB. 0%. 5.5 out of 6. Okay, so you got it. You're allowed to play the King's Gambit. Hey, Tactics. You have to learn another opening. If you like. The opening's not that important. Whoa. What's the concept here? Okay. I'm going here. My opponent's got the idea that it's kind of awkward to block this diagonal for my king. E45 is the hardest one, Yellow, for sure. I'm an old man, Foos. I've embraced it. Look at the time lead, 40 seconds. And I even gave the opponent a real deep think on that last thing. They did. Okay. Here. I mean, honestly, I just want to play queen b3. Maybe queen d2 is safer here. Let's just keep playing safe moves. I know, Foos. There's always somebody older than you, right? There's always somebody older. My opponent's trying to play e5 in one move. So they're going to play rook d8 here. David, normally I try to calculate longer on moves that I think could decide the game. In other words, moves that could be very important, have a big impact on the evaluation and the result of the game. This gets me off of the rook. These e5 moves. And I don't actually want to give up my bishop pair. Oh, I'm out of time. Shoot. I'm just sort of flagging here. Got a couple seconds, don't really know what to do, etc. My idea is to push h5 here, or this. Okay, I I got a little lost. I got that question about when do I choose to spend my time, and then I wasted all my time in ways that I normally wouldn't waste it. No, it's good, David. You're supposed to ask your questions. I could maybe have waited till the end of the game to try to answer it, but let's go to that moment for a second. So here, let's see, you're saying the queen d2. Yeah, okay. So here my opponent played queen b6, and here I thought for a while, right? And I had an instinct to maybe play queen b3 or queen d2. And queen b3, if we were just evaluating these pawns, I would just go for queen b3 and just keep moving. But I was worried that maybe this move would be very strong after queen b3. And so basically the move I wanted to play was queen b3, and I felt like I had to tactic check it that it wasn't a big problem. And so I spent like 10 seconds looking at knight b4, like, do I have a good move then that I'm happy with? And I didn't. So then I wanted to play queen d2, and again on queen d2 I just wanted to check that I wasn't going to lose to e5 with a tempo on the bishop, pawn takes, bishop b4. So I just spent a couple seconds on that one too. So the reason I spent some time there was just because I thought it might decide winning or losing the game, or like really push me towards winning or losing, push me closer either to the win or to the loss. Tactics was asking, when are we going to do a dojo talks about the candidates, right? The dojo talks about the candidates should be about a month before the candidates tournament, I think. Yeah. So that we've got time to see how the players are playing in any events they play right before it, right? Moving to Europe sounds like potentially a good idea for many reasons, including chess tournaments. Glad you liked the dojo talks, b4, b5. I really want to come to the Czech Republic. That's right. Everybody in the dojo, go to the Czech Republic and visit yellow. Okay, now I'll play the other side of the Slav if possible. With the knight on c3, they could finally go knight h4, so I preserve the bishop pair for now. Not super interested in grabbing this pawn and holding on to it, you know? Why even bother thinking about it? Let's just keep playing old man moves, you know? Should I just back up? Should I trade it? I feel like trading it's fine. Good to hear your opinion, Lhasa. Yeah. And I might be biased and right at the same time. It's possible, right? Just because you're biased doesn't mean for sure you're wrong. It's good to know what your biases are, in my opinion. Yeah. Surely it's good to know your biases. That's a weird move. I want to do this. Whoa. Okay, that justifies the previous move, at least, we can say. I was tempted to Benko Gambit there to get some breathing room. Glad to hear it, Hipsy. Whoa. This move was kind of my dream all along. I guess I will live my dream. I thought f4 was to prevent this move. Now, it is space, you know, and my bishop does have to be concerned. But I don't know. I feel like I've got good resources here. Knight c4, b3, huh? Nowhere to go? So this unveils the idea of maybe taking this pawn at some point. For now, I can't, because the rook would defend it through that trade. So I should maybe try e4 here. I've got a minute, and I should just play some quick moves since I know what's coming. f6 I can take with the knight, weirdly. Here going fast is going to be somewhat important. I'm hoping this move's not a blunder. I was too low on time. I didn't want to invest a minute on it. Just wanted to make a move. Okay, that was the move I was most worried about. Let's see if I can't survive it somehow. I think he's running out of anything here. Yeah. Well, that was a lot of just surviving, huh? A lot of just surviving. Mm-hmm. You're right, Eduarda. I think that is an important moment in the game. But I didn't spend much time on it. I considered that option. After f5, I thought I could castle as well and just ignore it. Like, do I care too much about this? But I just didn't think this was a decision I wanted to spend a ton of time on. You know, like it had been my goal to play e5. They've played 2 moves with this pawn. It kind of blocks my bishop, but it also requires being defended and supported and gives my bishop something to do, which is win the pawn, right? F5 after f4 has to be bad, says Hifsy. I agree. It has to be bad. It means there's a chance that both moves are playable, but I just played the move that I'd been dying to play, so to speak, you know? Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with castles. I just didn't spend a lot of time on it because it's a blitz game. Castles might even be slightly better than e5, maybe. You know, I mean, you have to maybe double check that this doesn't bother you, and then you see you can do this, and it doesn't matter if their bishop comes in, and then you say, okay, this is an even better version, you know, but you always have to be measuring, like I was being asked last game, by David Noor. You always have to decide which moves are worth, you know, 1 second or 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Hey, Fofer, yeah, the bet was could I make 2,600, which I did, which I already did. But I was like 2,400 at the time. I've gotten much better at blitz over these last couple months that I have not studied chess or gotten better at chess. I've gotten better at blitz and worse at chess. Okay. Oh no, I got a better idea. Let's just do this. Once their bishop's traded, I'll be threatening e6. You see? So they'll be forced to take on e5. And then once they take on e5, I'll just push ahead f5. You see here I'm threatening e6. Now they don't have a light scored bishop. They can't... Even if they win the pawn on e6, their position's lost. But if they fill e5 with a pawn here, then I can push. Then I can push f5. Wow, they just say e6 me, baby. All right. I said I could. I said I would. Wow. Holy moly, Batman. Oops. That was terrible. Hang on. Was it terrible or was it genius? That's what Blitz is like, by the way. Just a series of like, wait, is this a blunder? Is this a blunder? Is this great? If rook e6, I've got queen d5, and then the rook can't escape, you see. So it was all genius. Let's go eat another pawn. While we're just clowning on this guy. Sorry, Petrogerd. It is time to give it up. Give it up. Doesn't feel like resigning yet. Oh yeah, the Benoni is terrible, Hipsy. It's great to have white against the Benoni. Much easier than white against the Benko in Blitz, at least. Where are you going? Oh, where are you going? That's a rookie cookie, bro. There, you just got to see me make 2,600 again. Whoa. This opening's intense. I'm down a minute, just hoping not to lose in the opening to some kind of obvious blunder, you know? A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. I got tricked into it for sure, Edward. Now I've got no time. I have to take back here. Yeah. I think I've dodged the opening successfully at this point. My position looks pristine. Probably I'd rather be black than white now. Ay, ay, ay. Here comes some major something. I don't want to go to g6 and just get hit by f5. Normally I just crowd pieces in front of my king kind of defensively in these situations. Yeah, probably I should have gone there. The knight was just hanging on b6 to my queen on like f2 or something. Too far away for me to see. I was just trying not to hang my own things. But yeah, I missed a couple things, obviously. I was playing on seconds most of the time there. Oh yeah, that's a good move. Wait. Maybe I can do this. Oh, thanks, Yellow. You saw my little Songovich. Should I play e4 and trade queens? That'll be so old. That'll be so old. Oh, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want that isolated pawn, pawn, pawn. Yeah, Eduardo, at least I was lucky that my opponent was not Mark that game. Huh? Not willing to defend the pawn? No! Jesus. Jesus Moises, David. That was terrible. Oh, God, what to do? What to do? Sorry, I need to pay attention, folks, or this is going to get worse and worse and worse. Look at this pathetic little move. Fighting for my dream of a draw. You lose concentration for one tiny moment, you know, and that's when things get bad. Make life a little harder for black. Tonight is underperforming. Back you go, Joe. I wanted to take the second file, but against rook b3, I need to go here and then bring out my knight. I didn't want to go rook c1, rook b3, and then just lose this pawn, you see? Saw that coming. Saw that coming. Knight's pretty trapped. Where are you going? Where are you going? Good defense by my opponent there under pressure. But they messed up. They had the draw, easy peasy. Well, that's what you get for just hanging in there, you know? Why was g5 not working? Sorry, I don't know at what point Hifsy, but you're probably asking about the rook endings, so let me just give my take on this ending. This is the start of, like, going wrong for black. The rook is on its best square, tying my king to keep my king over here, right? From going over there. So it's very risky for him to do this and take the pawn. I don't know if this is the best move, but, you know, we only had a few seconds. But basically, it's very, very risky for him to take this f pawn and let me connect to this pawn because it's getting so close to queening, right? So I think the proper approach here is leave the rook here, play king f5, and then maybe play g5. with the king on f5, looking to trade pawns. Salut, Hell. No in the start. And what you're asking about, Labbit guy, my opponent would have played rook takes a3 to defend their knight. That's what I was worried about. Oh, and then maybe b5, huh? Yeah, I didn't see that. So what they're talking about is right here. This knight's stuck. I could have played this, and then after this move, maybe this. But I didn't look this far. No, the bishop's defending it. This is complicated. The knight's got nowhere to go without blocking the bishop. Maybe this. Again, I didn't have the time. Knight defends here. I didn't quite have the time for it, and I thought that I would have an advantage in this position. I thought I'd have like a good advantage because it looks like their bishop and king are kind of passive, and I'm up a pawn on the far side. And probably I just played it wrong, right? But instead of king e2, knight c1 or something. Threatening their knight, and if they go here, b5, with the idea that the knight's blocking the checks and the bishop's blocking, gets blocked if the knight goes anywhere. That may be. I mean, it does feel like white should be winning suddenly, right? But you have to have a feeling of like, by how much are you winning? It's hard to know. My guess would be there's some way to win this position, but I didn't find it. It could just be bringing your king to c2 to chase this rook out of here. And then going after the b pawn, you know? Or maybe Param is saying bishop c1, and then you're trying to do this, and if they do this, you come here. And if they come after this bishop, you just hold it with your king. This is ugly, but those pieces aren't in the game yet, so you still come out winning, basically, right? And maybe you need to go here so that if this, you can come here. But the point is, like, ugly or not, it feels like this might be a way to win 2 pawns, which would be clean. So, yeah. I mean, maybe this was a moment where I should have thought longer. I had 38 seconds. Maybe this is somewhere where I should have spent 15 or 20 seconds, right? Because if I find the right idea, then the game's relatively easy for me to win. You know, if I had a sense like, okay, this is the big moment to see if I can win this or how to follow it up. But I just kept playing sort of slightly fast, but slightly slow, like medium temp here. Bishop d4, I thought was much better than bishop f8, Labbit guy, yeah. For sure. That was where my opponent gave up their extra pawn or whatever, right? They have this move. They may have been worried about this sort of knight e1 pattern, because this is very good for white, but I can't yet play knight e1 because of rook f2, right? So I would have probably played this move, and then they can play this move. And then I was wondering in this position if I've got this move here. The point is, anywhere the knight moves messes with the coordination of these pieces. There's a good chance that this is what my opponent was worried about when they didn't play bishop d4. Was, again, sometimes you're wrong to be afraid of a thing, but you see like, oh, it could be blundering a whole piece, and you decide it's not worth 30 seconds of my time to check if there's a way out. You see what I mean? Like, and maybe there is a way out, but you don't trust in yourself to see it, and you rather just very quickly play bishop f8 and keep playing the position. Right? But what my opponent didn't estimate was that just keep playing the position, that the knight on a6 was going to become such a problem that actually it would be hard to play. So in retrospect, maybe this is a point where they should use some of their extra 30 seconds and say, like, is there any better way for me to, can I get away with this more risky move, right? And bishop d4, I imagine there's a way to get away with it, right? So I should go here, 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 and maybe now rook takes, with the idea that on knight takes, I want to do this, and rook d4, rook c1, but the bishop's covering it. Plus, you could deflect the rook. I mean, maybe it's just losing for black, right? And see, that's the thing. We've been looking at this for at least 20, 30 seconds already, and we haven't yet found what my opponent was supposed to find, you know, during the blitz game. So, hey, Matt, thanks for the raid. Folks, please follow Matt, a.k.a. Houseline, right here. It's very easy to do. Everybody should do it, please. He's a good friend and co-worker here at the dojo. I've got time for one more game, so let's play one more game. Even though it's fun to talk about them, let's play one more game before I go get the kids. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Oh, 9-game winning streak. The longest of my entire Blitz career. Didn't even notice it. Thanks, everybody, for making it happen for me. Shout out, Dina. Thank you. Oh, my gosh, giving away precious seconds to be polite here. Greetings, everybody. Welcome in. My name's David. I'm a terrible Blitz player who's currently playing Blitz. I've started playing like an old man. That's my new way of playing Blitz. We're going to play like a lame Queen's Gambit accepted kind of variation now. Why am I a terrible Blitz player? I don't know. Well, we've done a whole dojo talks on the subject, so I refer you to that. Yeah, formerly a King's Gambit tier. Now a boredom pioneer. I'm doing absolutely nothing here. We're going to have to improve the situation somehow pretty soon. Opponent's not convinced that they want to trade everything. Dang, this position's equal. Yeah, I thought they might be dreaming of that. All right. Let's just trade the night away. No trade for you. See, you thought I was an old man. Little snap left in the old man. Knight c3. Careful, old man. Careful, old man. Kavutskiy. Weaken your dark squares a little bit for me. Yeah, there's a good kid. There's a good kid. No idea what you just did. I gotta pay attention. My rook's hanging here. And I don't want to trade bishops if this knight ever moves. I want to slip away. Cool. More weaknesses. Very cool. Where's the bishop supposed to go if the knight moves? Now, one complicating factor here is I'm not actually good at any of this yet. I'm just trying to start playing in a new way here. Gotta watch out for tactics on these bad boys. So the king's trying to come out. Let's see if we can't switch around faster than they can see me coming. Clever. Threatening the knight. It comes in. Open things up here a little bit. Or rook d1, knight a3. I couldn't make it work. I just spent like 30 seconds looking at like rook d1 tactics, basically, trying to take that open file. And then, yeah, the bishop here, and etc., etc. We're going to go to this file instead. It's going to be a little bit easier, I guess. Oh, you're headed there, huh? Sneaky. That looks pretty damn drawn, doesn't it? Bishop jack. Do I want to go forward and get mated? No. Ah, 1 second left. Oh my god. I just don't have the time. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Yep. Brutal. That's going to be 10 in a row. Oh, touch grass. I'd love to play you. Unfortunately, I have to go pick up the kids right now. That's all my time for today. That was insane, huh? Whew. Took me a long time to realize I could just start pushing that E pawn there at the end. I've got like 20 seconds here, folks. I'll just say, like, this was unfortunate when I got my king and bishop frozen like this, right? It looked like it would just be a draw. Like, I can't do anything, right? I just have to keep my rook behind the pawn and do nothing. And then it occurred to me, like, not immediately, but then it finally occurred to me, like, oh, this pawn can come forward all the way to this light square that the bishop's, like, committed to counterattacking instead of defending, right? And then this bishop goes to a dark square with a pawn on a light square, and it's like mating nets. Whew. How do I explain that there are IMs with 2,600 ratings and also with 3,200 or 2,900? Well, in Parham, a few months ago, I was an IM with a 2,400 rating, and a year ago with a 2,300 rating. So, have you seen our podcast on that topic? Because we've done a whole episode talking about why some people are better or worse at Blitz. Dojo Talks Blitz. This podcast was recorded when I was like 2,400, and Jesse and Kostya gave me a challenge to try and make it to 2,600. So we talk about what makes people better or worse at Blitz at some length there. All right, I got to run, folks. We received a bunch of raids for which we're thankful. How kind. So we should send off a raid ourselves. Let's raid my old friend Lafong. It's fun hanging out with you all today. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for being there for my first 10-game winning streak of my life. What a moment. What a moment. Be well, everybody.